Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. You are watching the Championship Preview Show. And first of all, an apology, we are not live. I will put this up as a premiere, so please do watch along, interact in the live chat, even super chat if you want. Wouldn't that be a fine thing? However, we are not live today. You can still get that interaction. But because of the Brentford-Fulham scheduling last night and wanting to do that as a watch-along because of the story and the fact it was last year's playoff final and the fact that Fulham are a dearly departed and Brentford are always a good story over here on the channel, I thought I'd go live with that instead. So we've moved it a little bit later. It is a pre-record. I could have done it live, but we're going to be back later tonight for the watch-along, and my time with my missus is important. So we're going to go pre-record and get the job done here. As ever, the Championship Preview Show is brought to you by a fan sponsor there. The Donovan brothers, Millwall fans, all of them in loving memory of their late brother, Michael Donovan of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan, admirer of this show. Thank you to the Donovan brothers for sponsoring this, the Game Week 4 preview, and every preview throughout this long and winding road, as the Beatles would indeed say. There are your Game Week 4 fixtures. Tonight, join me for the watch-along. What is it, 7:45? I think it is 7:45. Yeah, so we'll be here about 7:30 for Coventry City versus Bournemouth. Then, tomorrow, as I exclusively revealed last night, I will be at Norwich City versus Derby. So we will have an I Have Just Witnessed. There will be no watch-alongs, but there will be an I Have Just Witnessed for that game. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, I will take you behind closed doors at Norwich and do a match experience. But that's only for our wonderful Patreons, I'm afraid. Borough versus Barnsley. Reading versus Watford. Nearly top of the table clash there. Sheffield Wednesday versus QPR. Luton versus Wycombe. Blackburn versus Cardiff. Rotherham versus Huddersfield. Swansea versus Millwall. And Forest Bristol City takes you through all Saturday. On Sunday, obviously Brentford played last night in the League Cup. Brentford versus Preston. And then at 3 p.m, well, they played an hour later, didn't they? So they go an hour later. Stoke City were victorious, weren't they, at Aston Villa? They play Birmingham City. Let's work our way through each of the fixtures. As I say, I am not live. We're on premiere here. I cannot respond to your comments, but you can still interact with one another. And I would urge you to do so. Get the chat going over there. There's our table. Heroes at the top there. Bristol City and Reading, 3 wins from 3. Then we got some 7-pointers. Swansea, Bournemouth, Watford. We should give a couple of shout-outs there. Look, Swansea, no goals conceded. And Watford, no goals conceded too. There are two 2 points per gamers there. Blackburn and Luton on 6 from 3 games. Then behind them, Birmingham and Millwall, both undefeated, obviously on 5 points there. Then a whole slew of teams, won 1, drawn 1, lost 1. We should include Sheffield Wednesday in that, but remember they're down the bottom there on the -8. But they have put 4 points into the bank. So have Brentford, QPR, Coventry, Norwich, Rotherham and Stoke. A win and 2 defeats thus far then for Cardiff, Huddersfield. Borough have got a couple of draws, no wins yet. And then we start to see the early strugglers. Not saying they'll be there long, but they're there at the moment. Preston there, 1 point from 3. Barnsley, 1 point from 3. No goals for Barnsley. No goals and no points for Nottingham Forest. No points for Derby and 8 goals conceded in 3 defeats. Wycombe played 3, lost 3, no goals, 8 conceded. I say it couldn't be any worse. You could have -8 points. That is obviously statistically worse than having 0 points. But in terms of form, not good for Wycombe at the moment. So let's work our way through from the top. And our early leaders under Dean Holden of Bristol City. There's the head-to-head 7-5 in Bristol City's favour, in fact, with 4 draws. And look at the last 3, the form. 3 wins for Bristol City, 3 defeats for Forest. So, in theory, if form is any indication whatsoever, Bristol City will win this game. We all know that it doesn't work quite like that, does it? So, let's have a look. This is what Bristol City did in their last game, their last league game. Bentley, Mawson, Moore and Viner in there. Remember, Callas is hurt. Baconson, who everyone's raving about, to be fair, everyone's raving about Jamie Patterson as well. And Vyman in that midfield. Rowe and Hunt are the wing-backs. So no place for Sessignon or Eliasson or De Silva. All very good players on the bench there. Naki Wells and Chris Martin doing the business up top, already ahead of Jeju and Semenyo down there. And as I say, lots of nice options on the bench. Hanno Masengo has not made that team yet. And Thomas Callas is out injured. Nicholas Eliasson might long term make that team, although just hasn't managed to do it under successive managers so far under Dean Holden. And surely Jay De Silva will end up making that team. But look, Tommy Rowe, left wing back with a goal in there. So Bristol City looking wonderful. Oh, Forest, that was a train wreck, wasn't it, last week? Last Friday night we did the watch along, didn't we? Didn't go well, did it? Massive changes for Forest there. So Samba, Blackett, where last season we had Ribeiro, McKenna, where last season we had Figueiredo, Umbeso, where last season we had Worrell, Christie, where last season we had Cash, Sal, Colback, where last season we had Ben Watson, Arter in more a 3-man midfield, less a 4-2-3-1, making his debut, Freeman, where last season Lolly played, Taylor, where last season Grabban played, and Amiobi in there. It didn't go well, let's just say so. Get your predictions in the chat. Obviously, I cannot respond to them. But with this game being at Forest, that does weigh it a little bit closer in Forest's favour, although they haven't played well anyway now for a long, long while. Let's not make a prediction my end, but let's just say if Sabri Lamouchi loses, try saying that, I think he's done, isn't he? It all looked very, very crestfallen and sad in the last game. But I like Lamouchi. I've said it on the channel many, many times. But that is the story of this game. Can Forest get through it? We'll see. Bristol City, not the team you want to play at the moment. 2 teams in form are Reading and Watford. Reading, 3 straight wins. Bang, 9 points. Watford, 7 points and no goals conceded. Here's what Reading did last game. John Swift is not around now, and I think for a fair old while. And I don't know, someone give me an update if you're talking in the chat or comment after the effect. I don't know what's happening with Lucas João. I know he hurt his shoulder. I think I'm right in saying that. So maybe we don't see him. For how long? I do not know. But Raphael, Arunia, Morrison, Moore, Richards there with Gibson now been brought in as backup. Laurent and Rinomota are the double pivot. Ejaria moves across to 10 in Swift's absence. Maite then starts. Elise is up there. And you would think if João is not around, Puskás comes in. I've said though, last few broadcasts here, a lot of star power there. Imagine Puskás at number 9, Maite down the right, João down the left, Ejaria at number 10, Olise and Swift as the double pivot. Sorry to Laurent and Rinomota. It's a lot of star power across that front 6, isn't it? Can Reading keep it up? My view, don't get thin-skinned on me here, Reading fans, is their results are outperforming their performance at the moment. And we know one or two things happens. It's obvious. Either the performances goes up and they keep winning, or the results tail off. We'll see. We will see indeed. Watford have now, well, there's been more comings and goings, hasn't they? Pereira has gone out and, what's his name? Troost Ekong? Something or other. I can't remember the defenders. But a very tenured Nigerian centre, William Troost Ekong. Am I right there? Who I'm told by my Watford friends, already some Watford friends on the channel, brilliant, love it, will come in for Christian Kabasele in the middle of that back three. Otherwise, expect it to be very, very settled. Garner is in with Chalobah and Cleverley. And look, Ismaila Sarr is starting. You've still got, look on the bench, Troy Deeney. My God. Andre Gray, anyone? Will Hughes? God, they got some players there, haven't they? So, let's see how this transpires for Watford. I don't expect it to be too different. If they're ready to put William Troost Ekong Troost, I don't know, can't remember. Finidi George Finidi, which way around, maybe they will. But, again, and don't be thin-skinned about this, Watford fans, some sense, organisation, and some really good players are getting them through the games at the moment. But they've not conceded any goals, and they look strong, don't they? Again, one of two things will happen. Either that will not last, and other teams will improve and come and move past them, or they'll add pattern of play and a little bit of synchronicity between players, and they'll really go flying. Let's see what happens. Where was the game? It's at Reading. It's an interesting one. You might sit on the fence and say draw on that one. Everyone says get your splinters out your backside, Ben. Sitting on the fence as ever. Swansea versus Millwall. I remember, was it at Cardiff or was it at Swansea? Jed Wallace banging in a absolute one. I think he might have done it at both actually last season. 7 points for Swansea. 5 points for Millwall so far. Rowett winning the head-to-head between the managers. Swansea winning the head-to-head between the teams. Obviously, we saw Swansea on the watch-along, didn't we, against Wickham. And they murdered them for about half an hour. I think they're going to have to be better to get through Gary Rowett's defence than they were to get through Gareth Ainsworth and Wickham's defence there. Don't see that changing much, do you? Woodman, Cabango Roddenquay, Bidwell. Look out for him in the stats later. Roberts, Smith-Grimes, Lowe, Gibbs-White, Ayew. I'd imagine that'll be unchanged if they're all fit. Nice, strong start by the Swans. Same for Millwall. So settled, aren't they? And I wouldn't see much of that changing either. Some of my Millwall friends are saying, maybe a bit more presence up front, either with the height of Smith or maybe a bit of the running of Bodvarsson. Troy Parrott's injured again though, isn't he? So we'll see how that pans out. But if they're all fit, maybe Murray Wallace, who's played a lot of games the past couple of seasons. I don't know. But that was a draw against Brentford last week, which is obviously a good result. So I don't foresee too many changes there. The game is at Swansea, and Rowett loves a draw away from home and saying, come and beat me at the Den. So hard to pick a winner in that one. Get your thoughts in the comments. Here's tonight's watch-along. Hopefully you're watching this before 7:30 tonight. If not, you'll know exactly what's happened. Or we're currently doing the watch-along, so come and join us live. And you can interact there with me live. Coventry versus Bournemouth. 7 points for Bournemouth. They look quite good so far, don't they, under Jason Tindall. Tindall, Ivic, Paunovic, Holden, all started well, haven't they? All those new managers who are unknown quantities in the Championship at these clubs have started well, haven't they? Coventry were on the watch-along against QPR. Very impressed with their wing-backs. There are Bournemouth and how they lined up in the last game. Look out for Dan Juma, who started the season brilliantly, hasn't he? Hembling-Cook, Rico. 8.0 there for Rico. He ticked the boxes for our friends at SofaScore. The numbers bods there. Begovic in goal. Billing, Lerma, Cook in midfield. Stacey Smith are the wing-backs. Dan Juma and Solanke. Look on the bench. Josh King, who should be a bit too good for the Championship, shouldn't he? And Sam Surridge, who did very well on loan at Swansea in the Championship as well. Can he keep it up? There's a bit less chaos at Bournemouth at the moment, it feels. And I thought there would be most chaos at Bournemouth out of the promoted three. You can check back and laugh at my 1 to 24. Seems a bit less chaos at Bournemouth than there is at Watford and Norwich at the moment in terms of the ins and outs. Everything will settle on October the 17th, but we will find out. Coventry, tricky one this one, isn't it? Morosi, Ostergaard, McFadze and Hyam, Darbo and John Giles, but Sam McCallum you can see back on the bench there. Sheaf has found his way in alongside Hamer, the big signing. Alan Godden O'Hare. So Tyler Walker and Sam McCullen and Jordan Shipley is a strong bench, I have to say. There's players there that will want to work their way into the first team and feel they've got a chance. Excuse me, I promise. That is not a new recurring cough. I don't know what I'm choking on at the moment. Choking on the lack of prediction. I think I've got to go with Bournemouth for this one. I have to say, Coventry look good. I like them against QPR, but first go watching Bournemouth. So I'll watch with great interest. But I've got to predict them for the win the way things are going at the moment. Come and join us tonight and see if Cov can prove me wrong. Blackburn versus Cardiff. Blackburn have had a fun last two games, haven't they? They've scored 9 goals and won 5-0 and 4-0 against Wycombe and Derby. Cardiff only have the 3 points so far. They went away and won at beleaguered Sabri Lamucci's Nottingham Forest, didn't they? Tony Mowbray versus Neil Harris. Something tells me this game's going to be tricky to win for either manager. Excuse me. It's not recurring. Kaminsky, Lenihan, Williams, Bell, Rankin, Costello, Holtby. Johnson started the season amazing. He's got 3 goals already, hasn't he? Rothwell. Tyrese Dolan. Did not see him coming. What a player he looks down the right for Blackburn. Armstrong. Wow. 5 goals already. Brereton. My contention with Blackburn had been, have they got the goals without Dak? We knew Armstrong was good, but Brereton seems to be working down the left-hand side. You'd expect it to have been the other way round, and Armstrong down the left supporting Brereton in the middle. And Dolan looks great, doesn't he? Not too much strength on the bench in terms of game changers. But when the first 11's good, why would that matter? There's your Cardiff lineup, which has been fairly stable so far. Only that one game where it all clicked and Kiefer Moore got a couple of goals. There's a lot of quality in there, isn't there? Smithy's in the Championship, Morrison in the Championship. One of the better centre-halves, period, isn't he? I'll say Tutu will be settling on his loan. Nelson, Cunningham, Pack, so experienced at this level. Volk's getting that way now and coming from Rotherham last season. Hoylett, Bakuna, Ojo on loan as well, and more. Plenty of quality. And when you do look at the bench there, in terms of Cardiff, you do see some game changers. Glatzel, Tomlin, Murphy, and obviously Bamber, very nice backup. Where's the game, he says? It's at Blackburn. I think I fancy Blackburn to continue this mad run. They're not going to win 4-0 again, I don't think. But, yeah, let's go Blackburn. Let's go Tony Mowbray there. I'll put my Ipswich Town hat on. Get your thoughts in the comments, in the live chat if you're watching on Premiere. Do it. Luton versus Wycombe. One side has come up last season, stayed up, and is taking to the Championship quite well this season. One up this last season. So when I was talking about Luton, we're up for the whole of last season, obviously. And it's not gone well for Wycombe at all. Lost in the last minutes of Rotherham. Lost 5-0 at Blackburn. 10 men, but I think they were still 3-0 down when the red card came out. And then Swansea took their foot off the pedal. That could have been a massacre, couldn't it? So many chances they conceded. Can Luton, with their pace and their quick turnarounds and ability to make chances fast without necessarily having lots of possession, create a few chances? If they can, they're going to win this game because Wycombe conceding lots and lots of chances. Sluga, Craney, Pearson, Bradley, Norrington, Davis. Lockyer can't get in the team yet. Doesn't matter. They're still doing okay. Remember, Luton's only defeat away at Watford. And we know what we think of their squad. And they haven't conceded a goal yet. James Collins smashed the crossbar. Pelly, Ruddock and Panzu, Berry, Tunnicliffe, the midfield 3. Cornick and Lee, probably closer to a 4-3-3. Not that I've seen Luton play in the flesh for a long while. Or on the TV. They haven't been on the TV this season yet, have they? Much to many people's surprise, given they were playing Watford last week, James Collins started the season really well. I think 4 goals in the first 2. He could do with one, couldn't he? There is the Wycombe team that started in a bit of a chasing against Swansea. Allsop, McCarthy, Tafazoli, Stewart, Grimmer. If Charles is unsuspended, maybe he comes back in alongside Stewart at centre-half. Onyedinma, Freeman, Adeniran, who is coming on loan from Everton, and Wheeler. across the midfield. Bloomfield and Samuel. Kashket is an option up top. Parker, wide. Horgan, number 10 or left wing. Some options. Joe Jacobson, a star last year. Not in the team just yet. It's not recurring, I promise. Or I just need to really clear my throat. Doesn't look good for Wycombe, and I don't expect them to get anything more than a draw in this one. And I suspect Luton are going to win. But let's get some evidence that Wycombe can compete at this level first before we start predicting mad results. I think I've done one or two, but don't see it this weekend. But, hey, I would not be unhappy if Wycombe can show to us that they're not going to be whipping boys, because that's not going to be a fun season for them, is it? Not a fun season for anyone seeing a team get whipped all season. My team, Ipswich, did that in 18-19. Just lost all season, pretty much. 30 points, I think. Shocking. Stoke City host Birmingham City. Yeah, this has got tight game written all over it. We had Paul Warren versus Karanka last week. We've got Michael O'Neill versus Karanka this week. So strap yourselves in for a maximum of 1 goal scored in this game. Birmingham undefeated. Stoke only the 1 defeat. They lost to high-flying Bristol City, didn't they? Birmingham did go with 2 up top in the last game, having signed Hogan, put him next to Jutkovic. We haven't seen San Jose in yet. And I think Lecco is back training now as well. So, if Karanka can keep being hard to beat, then it starts to look quite good for Birmingham. I know a few of their fans I was chatting to were saying, look, Ben, we don't care, just middle of the table, comfortable. But look, not in that team. Crowley, Terrell, Roberts is very capable in championship terms. And we spoke about San Jose and Lecco. You start to see a fairly strong first 16 with a strong pattern of play and ability to defend. So maybe it's starting to look good for Blues. Where was this game? I keep forgetting. I always put the highest team. It's at Stoke. That makes a difference. Excuse me, it's not recurring. It's starting to feel like it's recurring now. Dear me, I think President Trump's got it, hasn't he? Dear oh me. Not that we want to see any more of those debates that we... Oh, God. Let's not go political. Davis, Chester, Suter, Fox. This was against... Who did they beat last week? Preston, wasn't it? The 10 men of Preston. Barkhazen, somewhat unfairly sent off, we think. McLean, Smith, Klukas, John Obi Mikel, Oakley Booth, Gregory and Fletcher up top. I just fancy this to be a really tight draw or a 1-goal win either way. Was expecting Tyrese Campbell to play his way in and start 20 to 30 games this season. So still waiting for that to happen. Butland still on the bench. Davies ahead of him. Jacob Brown, the new signing as well, trying to force his way in. Some strength there. Look, Danny Bart on the bench as well. A capable championship centre half. Brentford versus Preston. We did the watch along last night. Brentford in the League Cup, beating Fulham 3-0. And side Ben Rama back. And he started. And he scored twice. And the second goal was filthy, let's just say. Brilliant goal by Ben Rama. Nice to see him back. Will we see him again? Who knows with Ben Rama? Throw me up the big question mark emoji. So this is on Sunday, isn't it? 2 p.m. because Brentford played last night. Preston haven't started well. Only 1 point thus far. We had Ben HD on the channel there. Preston expert. He wants a number 9. I think we can all see that. Don't think Daniel Johnson's been in the team either. Look at that. Brentford on the head-to-head. 10 wins to 4. The Hex. Do you believe in that nonsense? It's not recurring. Luke Daniels has been starting in goal, but my Twitter told me this morning David Raya has signed a new 4-year contract and was wearing the captain's armband last night. So I suspect David Raya will now reclaim his place in goal as the first choice keeper there for Brentford. Interesting bit of management by Thomas Frank there. He said, look, until you sign your contract, you can play in the League Cup, but not in the league. Now they've done it, I suspect he will switch back over. Dalsgaard, Janssen, Pinnock and Henry. Only Ethan Pinnock playing last night. Norgard, De Silva, Marcondes. Expect Norgard to come back in. Janssen played last night. Here's an interesting one though. Tony, Marcus Forss scored again last night. And I've gone back and thought, who is it with? I can't remember who he's with. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. One of the subscribers has been saying, Ben, Force is good. Don't expect him to get loaned back down to League One. And it looks like he's going to be right, actually, because Force is outscoring Tony at the moment. I would start with Tony, but with the caveat that Force is there and he seems ready to go, doesn't he? He really does. Canyoson and Buemo last time. Well, and Buemo will play. He's now got Godos as his backup, who debuted last night. And there's the elephant in the room at the bottom there, Said Benrahma. If he stays, whoopee-doo. Happy days for Brentford. You've got one of the division's finest players there. We just don't think it'll happen, do we? But Buendia is still here. King is still here. David Brooks is still here. Sarr is still here. Will Hughes is still here. Troy Deeney is still here. Josh King is still here. I think I've said him twice, but Benrahma is still here. Watch this space. Preston, they won't want to see Benrahma. I think they might, actually, because a deal's not going to be done between now and Sunday, is it? Although, if he doesn't play Sunday, then we kind of know that he's off ski, maybe on Monday during the day. Who knows? Rudd, Davis, Bauer, Story, back three. Barkhazen, I think he is still suspended. Or did they rescind the suspension, but not the red card? They'd fudged it somehow. I don't think he's suspended, actually. I think that's what Ben HD said. Pearson, Brown, Ledson, Sinclair. So no Dan Johnson still. Stockley and Maguire. Ben HD complaining. Not complaining. Doesn't really do that. He's a nice chap, isn't he? But maybe suggesting a number 9. And I've just remembered they did bring in a Danish, Norwegian youngster. Someone will write his name in the chat. Hadn't heard of him, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend he's going to be brilliant. But hey, he could be. That could be all of Preston's problems solved. He could be the new Teemu Pukki. I think Brentford are going to win this game, though. Sorry, Preston fans. Starting to click, aren't they? I think expect them to stabilise in the top 6 fairly soon. Brentford. Seeming at home in their new stadium already as well. Sheffield Wednesday versus QPR. The -8 of Sheffield Wednesday versus the 4 of QPR. There you go, 12 points ahead. Warburton with a win, a defeat and a draw. Very average so far, the 4 points from the 3 games. Same for Gary Monk and Chef Weds. The game's at Hillsborough, Ben. Remember that. Dieng, surprised to see him in there, starting. I wonder if he just keeps place now. Young keeper there at QPR. Still no sign of Ryan Manning, who wants more money and is playing for the under-23s at the moment. That's very unseemly and very football, isn't it? We can't agree, so you're banished. Under-23s for you. So Wallace still in there. Didn't cover himself in glory in the watch-along we did against Coventry, did he? Barbe, Dickey, Kakai is settled. Cameron, Amos, Chair, Asai Samuel, Thomas, Lyndon, Dykes in there. Have they signed anyone this week? Don't think they have QPR. I think we do still expect one more in and maybe a conclusion with Manning. He's either gone or he's back in the team. Let's see. 2 goals for Lyndon Dykes so far, but both penalties. Sheffield Wednesday signed Callum Patterson. I think for £500,000. I haven't done a transfer update the past couple of days. We'll do one early next week, I think. Is Callum Patterson a right back? Is he a midfielder? Is he a forward? I don't know anymore. We'll see what Gary Monk does with him. But if Gary Monk wants a target man and a back-to-goal guy, well, it worked for Neil Warnock. So maybe Patterson comes in up front there. I don't know. Brown, Windass and Kachunga at the moment. Dawson, Ior, Feliz, Van Aken, Harris, Palmer, Luongo, Bannon. The rest of the team. All fairly settled, isn't it? Maybe Odebajo can challenge for right wing back. I think Matt Penny. Did he play a game there or was he playing down the left? Don't quite recall. Julian Berner played a lot of games last season as well, didn't he? Let's see what Monk has got planned for us. The game is at Hillsborough. I think Sheffield Wednesday could get something out of this. QPR very open. And I think there's still one more deal. Let's go for a Sheffield Wednesday win. Randomly. Don't get cross with me, Rangers fans. Hey, you know what happens when I predict your team's going to lose. Best thing that can happen, isn't it? Not that it makes any difference to the universe. Norwich versus Derby. I will be there. Norwich with 4 points so far, but only 1 point from the last 2 games. Derby, though, much worse. 0 points. 5 wins apiece and 4 draws. This looks very even until you look at the odds, which have Norwich as heavy favourites there. This is the team that played Bournemouth last time out. Krul, well, he'll play. So will Aaron, so will Quintea, so will Zimmerman. Ben Godfrey will likely not. We're expecting his move to Everton to go through fairly soon. Norwich do it again. Huge money expected. 23 million plus add-ons or something. If you think different, quote me your source for goodness sake. Don't make transfer fees up. Come on, everybody. Don't lie. We got taught that in school, didn't we? Oliver Skip. Who invented the skip? Tottenham. Expect a 4-2-3-1 there with McLean alongside. Dowell is injured. Will we see Todd Cantwell back? Will Emi Buendia kick a ball for Norwich again? I don't know. Daniel Farker called them out in his press conference last weekend, didn't he? Hey, they could have trained brilliantly. They could be focused. And you could have a rather rasping 3 off the front there of Buendia, Cantwell and Placheta or Hernandez. Who knows? You might well, though, see Hernandez, Rupp and Placheta. I'll let you know in the flesh whether it's a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-2-3-1. If team shape matters to you. I was told in the comments, don't obsess about it. I do agree. It's all about the flow and the pattern of play. But gives us a sense of what the manager's trying to do. Teemu Pukki is a championship goal machine. 1 in 3 so far. Jordan Hugel awaiting an option. So is Adam Eder. Derby. I don't think Rooney's fit. I was told he wouldn't be playing by Lewis, who's a good correspondent here. Marshall, Byrne, Taverick, Wisdom, Buchanan, Bird. So Graham Shinnie possibly in there. I don't know why Matt Clark didn't play. Not sure about that. Good player, Matt Clark. Josviak. He'll play. Sibley. He'll probably play. Maybe Dwayne Holmes. Considering Derby will expect to defend a bit. Jack Marriott there as well. Expect him to start. But we're still expecting a striker in at Derby. Should give a prediction for that one, shouldn't I? All depends. Is everything calm and nice at Norwich? It can be calm and nice with Cantwell and Buendia not playing. And they're working towards a team that maybe ends up with Ben Gibson and Christoph Zimmerman in. And maybe the 3 off the front ends up, once Dowell is back, being Dowell, Placheta, Hernandez. I don't know. I wrote a piece for Prost International today. Check that out. Talking about transfer roulette. That's what Norwich are playing. If they get it right, they're going to get promoted. But they need to calm the chaos at the moment. And the noise. We see all these footballers doing this boring celebration now. But yeah, shut the noise out. I'll go for a Norwich win. Which would mean 4 straight defeats for Derby. Not good. Rotherham versus Huddersfield. Carlos Corberon got his first victory against Forest. And some sense of a nice pattern of play there. Fullbacks nicely forward, overlapping, underlapping. Brilliant goal they scored. Fraser Campbell smashing in that volley, almost horizontal there. Forest weren't good, they were though. Rotherham nearly beat Birmingham, got a penalty right at the end, although it was one of those, from what I've been told by those who watched it, especially Birmingham fans, both teams deserved to lose that game apparently. Ho-hum. That was Rotherham's solution there. Blackman, Harding, Ihekwa, McDonald-Jones, Ogbene, McDonald, the other McDonald, sorry, Angus McDonald in defence, Sean. In midfield, Wiles, Miller, Crooks, off, Hurst. So he's got different options. Sadlier came on wide for Miller to score the penalty. Still got Kyle Vassell, Ladapo, Smith. So there are options up top there. Remember, Rotherham so far has been low possession. Create big chances if you can from crosses and set plays. Win the game. Worked a treat in League One. Let's see how they go against Huddersfield. Hamer, Toffolo, Critchlow, Stearman, Pippa. Don't see that changing, although Naby Sarr is in. Hogg, Bakuna. Hogg went off injured and Carol Eiting played in the second half. Karoma, bit of a lack of end product there. And was it Diakabi? Did he assist the goal? I think he did, didn't he? Pritchard and Benza, or was it Benza? I don't remember. It was down the left. Campbell, great goal. Still, no sign of the lesser spotted Carl and Grant. And Corberon could do with the money if they do sell. He really, really could. Difficult one to call. If it was at Huddersfield, I'd be predicting in Huddersfield's favour. I wonder if Corberon is ready for Paul Warne and Rotherham and all of that brings. Although he beat a pragmatic manager in Lamucci, didn't he? Let's go for a Rotherham win. Wow. Huddersfield need to sell Grant and sign a couple more players, don't they? Dear oh me. Don't take my predictions seriously, by the way. And rather than have a go at mine, put yours in the comments or in the live chat if you're still here. We're nearly finished, by the way. Middlesbrough versus Barnsley. Warnock is back. Thank goodness. Look at that. 8-7 on the head-to-head. 2 draws for Borough. 1 draw for Barnsley, for goodness sake. Gerhard Struber heavily linked away with the New York Red Bulls. Have I got the right New York team? The New York Cosmos with Pele. No. He's been heavily linked away. That would be a big loss for Barnsley. He's got his fingerprints all over that squad, Gerhard Struber. Neil Warnock has his fingerprints over that squad. Oh, a little bit, actually. Not that much. Brought in Grant Hall, hasn't he? Marcus Bettinelli. And Chuba Akpom. So not that much at all, really. I'll correct myself. Ashley Fletcher not around last week, but a bit more strength up front now. Excuse me. With Chuba Akpom in there. Be interested to see how this develops across the season. Don't know why Dale Fry can't get ahead of Jake Steele or McNair in defence. Don't know why Lewis Wing can't find a place in the midfield. We'll see. Look there as well, Sammy Morsey in from Wigan. You'd think he'd be primed for a Neil Warnock team. Starting to take shape, isn't it? The game is at Middlesbrough, but that won't matter to Gerhard Struber. He'll play exactly the same way as he normally does. Lovely clash of styles in this one it will be. Shouldn't be too much difference than what you can see there. Maybe Ritzmaier can find his way into... He's a good player, Ritzmaier, actually. I liked him when I saw him at Reading the other week. The 2 suspended defenders who were sent off at Reading, Hellick and Anderson, returned. So expect that back three to... Should be a good back three, actually, if they can keep working this. Ludovic, good player. We've seen Callum Stiles play wing back. He's moved across to midfield. Williams doing a good job there. Maybe against Warnock, you sacrifice a number 10 or a strict number 10. You put Ritzmaier in for Thomas. I don't know. Maybe Thomas can go up top. He's got so many options. Total football of Struber. Woodrow's played 10. Who knows what he will do. Freiser could play up top as well. I'm confusing myself even thinking about what Struber's going to do. Let's go for a draw. Easy way out. There is your team of the week for last week. Please, please, please. Seems like I'm always making this plea. Don't be too emotional. If you think someone played well last week, just put it in a kind of unemotional way in the comments saying, so-and-so played well last week. Maybe he was in with a shout. Let's hope we don't get this. Rah! Rah! Where is my favourite player? Remember, this is purely generated by numbers, by SofaScore. So write them a strongly worded letter if you disagree. Other opinions are available, but we can all be polite, can't we? Begovic, Bidwell, Rico, McFadzean and Pieper. Rothwell, Johnson and Rowe, who actually played wing-back, but he's got the central midfield berth there. Karoma, who I wasn't very high on. I didn't like his final product, but hey, I test V statistics. The statistics did. Ayew, great player at this level. Asai Samuel, ahead of Tyrese Dolan, who's been bossing it there. There you go, I'm doing it myself, aren't I? That was your team of the week last week. Here are your top scorers. Armstrong out in front. Lucas Zhao and Kiefer Moore, the other strikers on there. Matt Godden as well. And some of our early season good form players there. Look, Johnson, Patterson, Wallace already on 2. Dan Juma, looking forward to watching him tonight. And Dolan there appearing. Who do you expect to see? You know, it's going to be 5 strikers are going to be in that list by some, I don't know, by about November, December, aren't they? At the moment, we've only got Armstrong, Yao and Moore, strictly strikers. So expect some strikers to come in there. But wonder how many of those are going to be in for the long haul. We will find out. Big chances created. Lots of people whine and moan at me for talking about XG. I'm using SofaScore this season, so it's all about big chances. And, rightly or wrongly, and you don't have to subscribe to this theory, and you can watch football any way you want, but my theory is, when I'm using stats, my theory, if I had to put it in a nutshell and had one favourite stat, yes, and here come all the comments saying, Ben, the only stat that matters is goals scored and the final result. Fine, don't look at stats, that's up to you. I'm going to, that's up to me. My most revealing stat is always the big chances. And a very trustworthy data analyst friend of mine said, Ben, good teams over the course of a season will create a lot of big chances and concede very few big chances. And that will override, and you'll be able to see that before you see 2 points per game and before you see the wins. Sometimes it takes a while for that to come around. So, if you don't want to look at any stats, then that's fine. I won't judge you for doing so. Don't worry. But I like this stat, big chances created. And it will reveal that Jake Bidwell had a field day against Wycombe. Josh Da Silva plays in a progressive midfield for a progressive team. Harry Cornick, see if he stays up there. Izzy Brown always creates a lot of big chances. Doesn't matter if he's playing for Huddersfield, Leeds, Luton or Sheffield Wednesday. Ken Semmer there, a wing-back at Watford. Chris Martin, knockdowns round the corner, doing the business. Luke Freeman, wow, and Sammy Amiobi. So some revealing players, some revealing teams. If you don't care for stats, that's fine. I'm allowed to. I respect that you don't care for them. Please respect that I'm going to use them. I'm going to quote them. And I think a lot of the stat decriers, I think they like to live their life in a very black and white manner. And they want a stat that's going to reveal everything. There is no stat that reveals everything. Yes, in some American sports, we can really closely align. But remember, as Jamie Carragher said on Monday Night Football, football is a low-scoring game. So we have to look outside of the goals and we have to look for other stats. And it makes it more unpredictable and more difficult to analyse statistically than cricket, where there's hundreds of runs scored. You know, we can bring up a map of exactly where the runs were scored. American football, where there's tons of plays in the game and lots of points scored. NHL, the hockey, basketball, literally end to end, tons of points. We can't do that in football. We try our best. So let me try my best. Sorry, that's a bit of a rant on stat non-believers. There you go. Thank you for joining me. I hope that was okay. We premiered it. What's the time here? If I can upload it before 4 p.m. It should be up by 4 p.m. It's 3:15 now while I'm recording it. Goodness me. Please support the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Still time to join the Fantasy League. Join in the fun there. T5QBR0. You can listen to all of these shows, most of the shorter ones actually, available as podcasts. Please subscribe to the Benjamin Bloom Football Show, wherever you get your podcasts. Trying to make a go of this. We're doing great on the subscribers, coming up 12,400, but I still need your help. So support me by using amazon.co.uk/shop/the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel and go and buy something and I'll get a little kickback. Or subscribe via Patreon. Patreon's head of the queue whenever we do an Ask Away with the questions. And they will get my exclusive vlogs, Q&As, Patreon exclusive Q&As. They're different to Ask Aways. And Match Experiences are exclusively Patreon at the moment. So my Norwich Derby stuff will only go to our paying Patreon subscribers in the $5 tier. Okay. Sponsor the channel. We've got our 3 fan sponsors, or 4 actually. Russ, Charlie. So Russ does the reviews. Charlie does the watch-alongs. The Dolan brothers, which we're going to come on to, do the review, which I'm doing right now. And have I mentioned all of them? No, Russ is the review, and they do the preview. The Donovan brothers. Sorry, Dolan. I've got Tyrese Dolan's name in my head. So there we go. We thank the Donovan brothers in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London. If you want to sponsor a show, you can still sponsor Ask Away. Or if you've got a business, you can sponsor the whole channel. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry it wasn't live. You'll understand why. We try and balance out pushing the channel and keeping my relationship sane and making sure I'm not up here all night and not seeing my missus. I know you like it when she pops in on the streams. We'll get to pop in again tonight. So we will be live tonight for Coventry versus Bournemouth for the watch along at 7:30. With all of that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you tonight for the live watch along. Over and out.